Hi, welcome everyone to the Global Skills Spark podcast. Today we have with us the very eminent Professor Sandeep Shastri, sir. And we are over here today to discuss certain important elements and insights into the world of national education policy precisely. We will be touching points related to skills, experiential learning, peer learning, inclusive education, and much more. So, hello, sir. As we are currently discussing mostly topics related to the national education policy, and we have been discussing a lot about the skills and how we can marry a lot of other aspects into NEP. My interest is also going to another vertical of NEP, which has been focused on the inclusive education and how we can focus more on the socio economically underdeveloped groups and how organizations can equip themselves better so that we can have more students with different learning abilities into mainstream education, and how well we can equip our facilitators and everything.
Yeah. There are two dimensions to the issues you raised.
Correct.
Inclusivity in terms of all economic strata of society.
Correct.
And inclusivity in terms of the learners with different learning needs being included. And let's look at both very differently. When we look at inclusivity in terms of young boys and girls from different economic strata, the lower middle class, the middle class, the lower class, the poorer class, when you involve and include children from these sections, because these segments of society have very rightfully become very aspirational.
Absolutely.
Because you have spread the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, you have spread the Ucha Shiksha Abhiyan. So now they are getting into higher education. Very often the fiscal resources required for higher education, they are not able to access. So there are two types of things that are happening in that domain. One is that you have a range of government schemes which are being put in place, where students who do not have the financial means to do certain types of niche courses which involve a higher fee structure are provided support by the government through the various schemes that the government promotes. There are challenges of bureaucratic hurdles that come in there, but that's being overcome. The second is, given the expanding role that private education institutions are today playing in the higher education space, and they are also competing for the brighter students among themselves. What many of them are doing is students who are doing academically well, but do not have the necessary fiscal resources to be able to get into the best institutions. They are offering large free concessions to these students so that they also have students of a higher quality who otherwise are not able to get into the education institution because of the fee structure that they have. So I know that there are many private institutions in South India which automatically talk of a 20% or a 40% concession in the fees if you are above a particular percentage of marks. So two routes are therefore now being pursued. One is ensuring that the government scholarships which are now available do not have too many bureaucratic trammels to, you have the scheme, you have the money, but you do not have the way of actually getting it to reach the students. Because what's happening is, many places the student gets the scholarship, but then the scholarship amount is not credited to the institution.
Yes.
We also have cases of the amount being credited to the bank account of the student, and then the student does not use it for the purpose it was meant. So these small challenges are being dealt with. And simultaneously, private institutions are realizing that we need to ensure quality, and therefore they are bringing in concessions in fees for them. Coming to the second aspect, which I think unfortunately is a much ignored aspect, what about those whose learning skills are very different?
Yes.
I often say it's not differently abled learners, but it is phased learners. It's just that they take more phases to be able to complete what somebody else could do in lesser phases. Now, again, to deal with this aspect, the whole new education policy focuses on learning methodologies rather than teaching methodologies.
Yes.
Yet, for too long have we talked about how to teach in the classroom. Is it time to talk about how do people learn in the classroom? So, using various learning strategies in a class, now, audio, visual, and all that, you see, the WARC method, all that is now increasingly becoming prominent within education spaces. Also, learners who have different coping skills with regard to learning methods. Today, they are not being frowned upon by education institutions. It's being accepted that these learners have superior skills in areas where other students don't have the skills, so they make up for it in those areas where they have greater capacities. See, there was a time when we believed that intelligence was largely about analytical skills and mathematical skills. But thanks to scholars like Howard Gardner, who came up with the multiple intelligence theory, who said there is nobody who is not intelligent.
Correct.
But you need to understand the different levels of intelligence in the different intelligences that people have. Now, that allows us to also look at which are the intelligences in a person which are at the higher range. Can we tap on those and allow those to actually express themselves, which allows the learner to actually gain the confidence that he or she is capable of excelling in that field also. So I think these efforts are going on. Much more is needed, but I think we are somewhere along the way taking that forward.
So I am sure, I mean, we do see organizations right from school to institutions to colleges and universities who are putting in efforts. I genuinely want to understand that do you feel that the facilitators, the trainers, the teachers, however we name them, they need a separate skill for educating learners who are phased, as you have used, that they go through different phases of learning? Do we think that we need a different kind of skill for adjusting ourselves and accommodating ourselves with learners who need different type of an attention? Maybe we don't have that right now enough.
You see, many education institutions have very powerful mentoring schemes today.
Okay.
Where you attach a group of students with a mentor, and that mentor monitors and supports the progress of the learners. Now, it has increasingly been recognized that mentoring skills are not an automatic skill. Everybody cannot be an effective mentor. You may be a great teacher, but to be a mentor, there are a different set of skills that you need to really develop and exhibit. So in many institutions, what they do today is they identify those people who have the empathy and sensitivity to be effective mentors.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
And such mentors are assigned students who require that extra support and understanding for being able to pursue their education more effectively. And the mentees also find that working with such mentors is to our advantage, because this mentor understands the issues that I'm talking about. So today institutions are aware of that going for support, going for counseling, going for a different way of being able to learn is not a disadvantage, is not a stigma.
Yes, not
But
at
is
all.
something which is legitimate for people who are in important ways different in their approaches to learning. Now, this is today being recognized, and I think that recognition is helping. Now, where does the challenge come? The challenge often comes in parental acceptance.
Yes.
See, I know of a counselor who makes a very telling statement. She says, talk to the child, counsel the parents. It's not the child who requires counseling.
Yeah, very true.
It's the parent who requires
Yes.
counseling. Because sometimes parents are not willing to accept that the child requires a different approach to be able to move forward.
Move forward.
In this rat race of competition, I want my child to do what I think is what every child which has arrived is actually doing.
Yeah.
But then recognizing the fact that children are different, all children need not necessarily adopt the same approach.
Yes.
Recognizing the need for that difference and not seeing that difference as a sign of superiority or inferiority. I think that is something that has started growing among parents, where parents recognize this fact. Parents don't see that as a limitation of their child, but as a recognition of a different way of learning for the child. So I think somewhere we also need to have a strong movement to sensitize parents for this. So therefore, in many colleges and schools today, you not only have teacher workshops, you have parental workshops.
Yes, we do.
Whereas where the child says, I know this, I want to do this, but I'm not having the support at home to do what I want to do. So that comes in when you have parental workshops, and parents also understand what is it that the child is going through and requires the support to be able to move forward.
Great. So I think, sir, what I have understood from this discussion is that we are well on our way to have better inclusive education in every way, economically and as well as the different stages and ways of learning for everyone. But we still have a long way to go. We have to adopt many ways and be much more mindful, rather,
I think
to be
societal pressure today is a major factor. When I see students not doing well in their first year or second year of their professional degrees, I realize a lot of it has to do with peer pressure and parental pressure.
Yeah.
I joined a course because my parents said I need to do it. I joined a course because all my peers are doing that course.
Yes, they do.
And even during my first year, I realized that this is not what I wanted to do. Now, you can imagine the frustration of this child when he or she comes to the third year and the fourth year, that you are trapped in a course which your interest is not there in. And everybody is telling you, now that you're in third year, is one more year, complete it, and then do what you want to do. So I think a little more of gatekeeping operations, where even before a boy or a girl joins a course, they and the parents need to be sensitized on what is it to do this course. Does the student have the interest in this particular course, or does their interest lie actually elsewhere?
Correct.
Will they do better? Will they really flower if they go into another course? So that, I think, is something we need to also do and break this hierarchies that have been created in courses. That these are courses which are niche, these are courses which the people who don't get all this should go here. Now that hierarchy needs to be broken.
Correct.
The the respect for all forms of learning. I often say this to students. Just because you enter a niche course doesn't mean you will get a great job. Now, what is your commitment to what that course requires? You can make a great job of any course. Whichever the course it is, you develop the passion and the interest.
Yes.
There will be jobs waiting for you tomorrow when you complete the course. So,
Yes.
at the end of the day, are you matching your passion to the learning that you are doing, or are you going in for a learning which is seen as being fashionable at a given point of time? Now, that cycle has to somewhere be broken.
Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for your deep insights into the world of inclusive education. It is something which is very important. Often we overlook it, but yes, it's equally important for us to be more mindful of it as we go ahead in this field. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you.